old man.
I'm the Witness Protection Program.
What's your name?
Dwayne.
I mean your full name.
Just Dwayne.
Don't you have a last name?
Dwayne.
A group of so-called fictitious characters is just as bad as a group of so-called real ones. They cause arguments among themselves, and curiously among the so-called real ones. They fight among themselves. They have affairs that are kept secret. And those affairs change the unspoken agreements of the relationships within the group. You can't trust them at any time or anywhere to be telling the truth. The real ones are the same way, so there's no difference, except that we are used to the behavior of the real ones, or we think we are.
What is your full name?
But the unreal ones get by unnoticed, they get written about, and their reasons are taken seriously. And if they are really old in the sense of outdated, sometimes there is a question about whether they were real at one time and somebody just made them unreal. But generally we take them more or less as they come. The real ones can pretend to be the unreal ones, of course. This is called acting. No one knows why we do it. It's so stupid among people who don't like it. This behavior is called the curse of the theater. That is for the real ones to pretend to be unreal ones. But this is just the simplest form. The real ones can pretend to be other different real ones, and those pretend real ones can pretend to be unreal ones. This is called being an actor. A common example in another line of work, for instance, is the example of the conductor leading the orchestra in a musical performance of a work that was not conceived by the conductor. I have seen this. Say the performance was conceived by one Ludwig van Beethoven. Then the conductor leading the orchestra is pretending to be one Ludwig van Beethoven. It has to be, however absurd that seems. Else where would the conductor get the authority to lead the orchestra and tell them how the performance is supposed to go? We see this all the time. You know what I mean? And you thought the Greeks were barbaric. Objects are the same way. I mean, big objects, as well as small ones. Objects so big, they don't even get the name. For instance, oceans. Now that's an object. But even at its size, it can't maintain its own identity. It has to be attached to something else. The something else is usually human. To use the example of a big object of importance, I can't look at the Pacific Ocean without thinking of the person I love. The person I love has the Pacific Ocean, the whole Pacific Ocean. That's a lot. Another person has Death Valley, and that's an object, or you could say it's a lack of one. It's a thing where an object, a big object, used to be, apparently. Another person has some of the things I work with. I can barely keep this for myself, the thing that I am writing with. I think I need it like I need a certain kind of privacy in order to work. But when I don't need it that badly, when I don't need it that badly, it goes away or rather it goes to somebody else. I have given up on the tables and chairs. They all belong to somebody else. For a couple of years, I worked with a person who is gone now. We were really close. We did a lot of things together, and we laughed a lot, but he never got the things. He got a small piece of Chinatown. That's not too important. What's important is he drank at least a gallon of iced coffee every day. He taught me to drink iced coffee. So he's got iced coffee. I can drink a glass of iced coffee without thinking of this person. That's a lot. We could get into smaller things or just parts of things, but we don't have to. I just wanted to give you the idea. As long as we are on the subject, I should remark on something even more mysterious. My consciousness, to use a phrase when I talk to myself, or even when I just try to say something, an idea like right now, I'm addressing someone. I usually know exactly who that person is. There's no point in me naming any person. The person changes. And probably you wouldn't know any persons anyway. But it's not abstract, like you might think. What do you call those things attached to all objects? Ghosts? No, of course not. doctor said.
One example is hypoglycemia. That means low blood sugar that can contribute to the cycle of addiction in alcoholics.
The doctor said.
Studies have shown that up to 90% of alcoholics have some degree of hypoglycemia.
The doctor said.
Cravings for sugar can be interpreted as a craving for alcohol.
The doctor said.
Hypoglycemia is one of 4 special types that can contribute to addiction to alcohol.
The doctor said.
Alcohol allergic is another. In this type, the addict has an allergy to some of the ingredients in alcohol or other foods.
The doctor said.
Through a complex allergic reaction, a craving for alcohol is triggered by any foods to which the person is allergic.
The doctor said.
The alcohol allergic person is very likely a binge drinker, and his or her personality is altered by drinking.
The doctor said.
Another alcohol addictive type is called 2A-DHTH-IQ, which means the addict's body breaks down alcohol differently than most people do.
The doctor said.
This person can tolerate high quantities of alcohol. This type of alcoholic is a victim of a chemical called DHIQ.
The doctor said.
The chemical is manufactured by the brain and fools the body into stopping production of its own endorphins.
The doctor said.
Cravings then result, and over time, the person requires more and more alcohol to feel normal.
The doctor said.
The final addictive type that leads to alcohol addiction is affected by essential fatty acids.
The doctor said.
In short, people of this type feel depressed and use alcohol to feel better.
The doctor said.
The alcohol, however, is actually helping to cause the depression.
The doctor said.
To break the chains of addiction, the center uses multiple therapeutic methods to help clients end their addictive behavior.
The doctor said.
Among those, mindfulness, meditation, also called stress reduction, and yoga are used frequently.
Mr. or Ms. or Mrs. N, it hardly matters anymore, and probably Mr. or Ms. or Mrs. N wouldn't know or remember even the distinction is helped into the van. Mr. or Ms. or Mrs. N with a number of other people, all more or less in his or her condition. They are leaving the Death's Door Hospital somewhere in the great Southwest.
Was a lousy husband.
Mr. or Ms. or Mrs. N driven to a place more comfortable up in the mountains. Conditions more like home, more comfortable than the Death's Door Hospital.
I was out there.
Not that the
county
Death's
fair.
Door
In
Hospital
some
is bad in any way.
godforsaken town
It's good, but
in
it's only
central
good for
Texas.
one thing, and depending on how that thing works out, for you go
In
out
the
one
middle
door
of
or the other.
August, in the
Mr.
middle
or
of
Ms. or
the
Mrs. N
afternoon.
and his or her companions
It's
went out the door to the
in the
van.
shade.
Others, I imagine, go out another door. The mood, of
There is
course,
a cow
is jolly,
in a pen.
almost senselessly gay.
And there is a pig.
Everybody talks,
The
sometimes
largest
or
that they
most
could find.
times, all at the same time as best they
There's hot
can.
dogs.
Nobody listens
there's
as
chicken.
best they can.
And there's Coca-Cola.
The driver of the van
And there's
is
beer.
in somewhat better condition, I guess, and he is more or less responsible, along with a couple of flight attendants from the Death's Door Hospital,
From the army.
to make sure the riders are comfortable. According to information from the staff of the Death's Door Hospital,
Is there
about 2
a
among the passengers will need to stop most often.
That they play.
To be carried bodily, of course, to a roadside toilet facility, lifted out of his or her seat, slung over the driver's shoulder, and carried
Made
to
out
the
of
little
plywood.
cubicle. Undressed as much as necessary, and instructed to call out when
Is eight
the
or
job is
10
done,
guys
at which time the
standing
driver
around
will re-enter the
in
little
cowboy
cubicle
suits.
with a damp cloth. neither
For the bottle's
too
bag
warm nor too cold,
waiting to
finish up what cannot be achieved
They've
with
done
the
this
convenient
before.
roll of paper attached to the wall of the little cubicle.
You don't want to be in the
This
bottle's
might
bag.
be 2 or 3 of the passengers, one after another,
Because it looks
into
like
the little cubicle,
hard times.
bottling, of course. But usually, it is just one.
It looks like
The policy
Hard
of
times.
individuality among the passengers
anybody
still maintained
has any
almost
common
intact,
sense.
if a little
The
skewed,
members of the
being
band
who, me?
probably get
As
paid.
if the efficiency
If they
of the
get paid
singularity of the
$25
facility, e.g., no services for the next 29 miles, driver's strength and courtesy,
They go
is
into
delicacy and
They
propriety.
play out ball.
With regard to the
And get
purpose of the
another
large roll of paper
$25
on the wall of the cubicle, his comforting indifference with regard to
drinks
differences
and something to eat.
among humans,
They will probably
and
make
most of all the brief pleasure of the
about
damp cloth,
$10
either too warm or
a
too
day.
cold, were of no consequence to the ongoing temporary
They might
fast
go
and human scale schedule of
2
keeping the
weeks
thing going
or
for our
so
species on this globe.
$200.
Circling, we are told, in some kind of space around the source, now nearer, now farther,
One of the
depending
songs
on,
they play
I guess, the time
is
of
called
year. There is no agreement on
Milk
these
Cow
matters,
Blues. I think that's right.
except among those kind of people who think they know it
If you
all,
count the
on grown-up
hand
college boys and girls
they
and
come
all,
to
and believing in the coincidence of
167.
numbers.
Approximately.
But we invented them, were of no consequence to the
It's
ongoing,
50 years
temporary,
later.
but vast, in human scale,
There is
schedule of us and our things.
On the radio.
Conveniently a variance on conveniences, as the road sign says, and well known for the driver who has made this trip frequently for the past few years and knows every bump and curve and sudden change
It's
of
not
scenery
the bubbles
that will bring the conveniences into play. Conveniently, the room of small cubicles and wash
But it
bowls
sounds
and paper towels is most
pretty
often
good.
connected to, in fact, architecturally,
sounds like everybody.
a part of a larger
In the
matter
band.
of conveniences that include a
Like
baffling
the
variety
lights,
of food and
sweet
drink,
delight,
sometimes reflecting in a
and
superficial way what might be called ethnic origins,
So
which
now
can be purchased and
everybody
dispersed to
wants
the
to
waiting
play
inhabitants of the van
can.
after their careful
I think that's
consideration of the menu read and recited. I can't find my glasses.
look outdoors.
Amid the shouts
I
and
can tell
groans
my milk
and
cow
opinions
by
about
the
good
way
and
she
bad,
knows.
legal immigrants and
You see my
illegal
milk
immigrants,
cow.
Jews and
He's
Arabs,
in
French and
home.
Germans, East and West,
I ain't had
rich
no
and
milk
poor,
and butter since that cow.
low humidity and high humidity, death and taxes. Old jokes not quite remembered fully. Well. And finally worked out to the dissatisfaction of
Well,
everyone.
don't that evening sun.
While the main business in the small cubicles is being worked out to the dissatisfaction of everybody, including Mr. or Ms. or Mrs. N, of course.
She asked me to write a love letter, something she can hide in the shoebox in the drawer. No names, no promises, just something she can look at to remind her what the day is for. Lonely lady, middle of the afternoon. Lonely lady, come in feeling blue. Love letter on a paper napkin, folded, addressed to you. Lovely lady. How precious you are, I need to be. How priceless you are, will always be. How special you are, no one can see. But
I'll keep it a secret. I'll keep it a secret. I'll keep it a secret. Sincerely.
He says he's tired of stories. He says he longs for some little language such as lovers use, broken words like the shuffling of feet upon the pavement. You want a cup of coffee?
Should we walk or take a bus?
I don't like shopping.
You don't like standing still.
One black, one with milk.
And a powdered donut, please.
A noise, a commotion, a clash of devices, of emblems, of mottos, of epistles, of sonnets, of epigrams, of books, of chattering scribbles, of terminal sweats, of lives consumed, of cries that deafen the stars, laments that make hell's caverns reverberate, aches that strike the living dumb, sights that exhaust the pity of the gods for those eyes, for those cheeks, for that bosom, for that white, for that crimson, for that tongue, for that tooth, for that lip, for that mantle, that glove, that slipper, that high heel, that avarice, that giggle, that scorn, that empty window, that eclipse of the sun, that hammer, that disgust, that stench, that sepulchre, that cesspit, that carrion, that malaria, that uttermost insult and lapse of nature, that with a surface, a shadow, a phantasm, a dream, an enchantment of Circe, plied in the service of reproduction, should deceive in the matter of beauty, which simultaneously comes and goes, issues and dies, flowers and rots, and is somewhat beautiful on the outside, but truly and fixedly contains within a shipyard, a workshop, a customs house, a marketplace of every foulness, toxin, and poison that our stepmother, nature, has managed to produce. And once the seed she requires has been paid out, she often repays it with a morass, a remorse, a sadness, a flaccidity, a headache, a lassitude, this and that distemper that are known to all the world, so that every place aches bitterly where it itched so sweetly before.
We're just friends. We usually meet at the bar. I always say, honey, tell me who you are. The kids are all grown up, and the man's always away, and everything is coming down around her day by day. Lonely lady, middle of the afternoon. Lonely lady, come in feeling blue. Love letter on a paper napkin folded, addressed to you, lonely lady. How precious you are, I mean to me. How priceless you are, will always be. How special you are, no one can see. But I'll keep it a secret. I'll keep it a secret. I'll keep it a secret. Sincerely.
May I never come to rule the love without which I've no wish for happiness.
How priceless.
Though for its sake I sacrifice to prove I've no wish,
How
not
special.
to wish for its largesse.
You are.
Whether the sky be bright, dark,
How
chill
precious.
or hot,
You
the
are.
phoenix is but
Honey to me.
one and ever true. No destiny or fate
How
can
priceless.
breach the knot
You are.
that even death itself
Will always
could
be.
not undo. For heart,
How special.
spirit, and soul, no pleasure,
No one
liberty,
can see.
or life can render such smile,
Well, I'll
or
keep it a
sustenance,
secret.
or amity as were more sweet, more
Sincerely.
precious, or more tender than the grief,
Lonely
yoke,
lady.
and deathly toll I have by nature,
Lonely lady.
will, and destiny. His chief erogenous zone lay inside his head.
Who said that?
I did.
You should take a walk every day.
I can't afford it, and on a nice day, it scrambles my mind.
Wanna go home?
Yeah, I guess it's getting.
We can take a taxi.
Can I have the check, please?
Transcending distant time and space, the world of stars we see now is explored by Subaru.
Not the car.
Formed by Prince Naruhito, honoring the telescope Mauna Kea, Hawaii. Subaru means the Pleiades, seven sisters seen above at a certain time of year. I saw them once in the darkness of no bayou. Darkness so deep there they don't have cars. They say it's coincidence of time and space, light years apart. They look like they're together. There are millions of them, but we see just seven. They're light years apart, seven. Orion lurking nearby, waiting for his chance. It'll never happen though. Transcending distant time and space, the world of stars we see now is explored by Subaru. Naruhito, he's not so smart. He should have said, just like us, every night, desire years apart. Seven sisters, years apart. Seven chances, not so smart. Every night, desire years apart. Transcending distant time and space, the world of stars we see now is explored by Subaru.
Not the car.
Raoul took the boy's hand and they walked out to the balcony of the faculty hotel. It was dark, the trees were at the other side of the lawn that started below the balcony and extended about 20 yards to the wall of the forest. The forest was a wall of darkness without detail, or rather a kind of black mass surface with a barely distinguishable striation of vertical lines describing the topography as in a painting, a black painting by some surrealist who attached sticks to his work. And it had the quality of a painting too, because the light from the room leading to the balcony reflected off that surface, as if the surface were arbitrarily angled to the viewers. Raoul, the boy, Raoul could imagine the surface being turned slightly to produce another kind of reflection, but neither angle would reveal that the surface was simply the front edge of the forest. In the silence of the waiting, the boy was unusually calm and patient, as if he were in control of what was to happen next, as if willing it. All of the problems about the clock and the mirror were seemingly forgotten. The boy was in control of what was to happen next, and it happened. The barely distinguishable sound of the twig breaking in the woods, somebody changing their position, not carelessly, but at the mercy of the nature of the forest floor, an oversight of the slightest move to get a better angle, to get a better view, a better aim, and the twig broke. Raoul heard it, Raoul waited for the inevitable, but it didn't come. The twig broke. Stepped down, not carelessly, by the one Raoul had never seen, the one hovering in the boy's imagination. Lurking, the boy had decided to forgive. The struggle was over, the boy had won the end. Oh, Raoul heard it, Raoul waited for the inevitable, and it came. The sharp sound of the rifle and the sharp blow to the chest. In this pairing we can never be sure which came first, as the bullet traveled faster than the sound. Probably someone knows, or certainly Raoul knows, but science is no help here. In the memory one comes first, and then in the replay the other, and then in the second replay the first order, forever shifting between the mirror and what it sees. The sound and the sharp blow to the chest. Raoul was on his back, thrown back into the room by the blow. On his back, in a brilliant light, then the sound in his ear. The boy is speaking to him very close to the ear. The boy is guiding him. The boy is in control as always. The boy speaks of the problem of the mirror and the clock that runs backwards. The clock whose hands turn counterclockwise from the days when Raoul was a student in this most private school for boys, when Raoul was tortured with loneliness, tortured by the unseen and by the seen, but unspeakable, when Raoul had found the clock and taken it back to his room. Raoul first had painted the hands and the face of the clock black, so that the time was hidden unless the surface was angled slightly. Then finally, in utter desperation, he had taken the clock apart, carefully at first, laying out the parts, each screw, each spring, each ratchet on the tower, and committing the pattern to memory in order to be able to reassemble the clock. First, working just at the surface, then gradually deeper and deeper, until the whole of the inside of the clock was on the towel and the pattern was mastered. Finally then, it could be done in an hour. Finally then, it could be done in total darkness. Finally then, Raoul came to know the clock. The clock became part of his imagination, and his imagination of its own accord began transforming the clock. It is impossible, but not impossible, without trying and failing, but simply waiting until it could be done perfectly without trying. The clock was put back together so that the hands moved counterclockwise, counter to nature, and in this way the clock could be read best by being seen in the mirror. Don't look at the clock, look at the mirror in the darkness. But the boy was not prepared. The boy had studied certain things to master, but the clock and the mirror finally blocked his progress. the clock and the mirror had to go. It was almost as if agreed upon between them. And that is why Raoul had gone to the balcony to keep his part of the agreement, etc. You get the idea.
December 25th, 1990.
An early morning dream.
I'm facing north by north.
Early morning dream.
The scene is an upper-class suburb,
An early morning
west side
dream.
of Chicago.
An upper-class suburb.
The Chicago skyline
An
can be
upper-class
seen
suburb.
in the distance on the left, which is eastward.
Eastward.
Between the suburb and the
Eastward.
skyline can be seen Lake
Eastward.
Michigan.
Between the suburb and the skyline.
The suburb is
Between
quite
the suburb
swell with rolling lawns
and the skyline.
curving hills, hilly streets.
Well cared for.
Our house
Well
is
cared for.
behind me on the right.
Well cared
Our
for.
house is on a corner.
Behind me on the right.
The peculiar thing about this suburb is that the streets are made of water,
Made of
except the
water.
water doesn't
Like
run with
canals.
gravity.
Like
The
a
water
canal.
is flat
Like canal.
and tranquil
Like
on all
canals.
planes.
On all planes.
At the
On
curb
all
in
planes.
front of our house is
On
parked a
all
raft
planes.
made out of pieces
What
of
is
4x8, 3/4-inch plywood on something that floats. What that something
Something
is
that floats.
can't be understood.
But it is important.
The raft is very plain,
Very plain.
nothing except the plywood.
Which is untreated.
Out of our house
Untreated.
comes our adopted daughter, Walnut.
Adopted daughter.
Walnut is an American Indian with a face that is exactly the face seen on a
Exactly.
nickel. She passes me on
Exactly.
the right in profile,
Profile.
with a kind of halo
A halo.
around her face. The halo is exactly the circle of a coin.
Exactly.
In fact, I don't see her mouth,
Exactly.
only her face. She gets on the raft in order to leave.
In order to
The
leave.
question of where she is going
order to
is
leave.
not part of the dream before she pulls away from the curve.
In order to
Jim
leave.
gives her a snorkel
A
in order that
snorkel.
she can have some fun.
Have some fun.
We have decided to break up the family because we discovered that
We discovered
our
that.
house has holes in it. The holes are small, about 1 inch in diameter, but they are all over the floors and
All
walls.
over the floors and walls.
When Walnut leaves, I'm in the water
When Walnut
up
leaves.
to my shoulders.
Swimming.
I'm swimming,
Swimming.
as in the picture of Mao
Swimming.
Zedong. Swimming.
Swimming.
I'm swimming.
Swimming.
The water is deeper
Is
than
deeper.
I am tall.
Is deeper.
I say goodbye, water. The moment is so sad
So sad.
that I want to cry.
I want to cry.
Then
Then.
I say
Then.
to myself,
Then.
you should write screenplays.
I have to make a list of all the reasons to want to tell all, because I'm not a poet.
Very nice. Now, what is the problem? The problem.
Asylum.
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 You said that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what the word means?
Yes.
Asylum from what?
We do not know.
You do not know.
We do not know.
You want asylum?
Yes.
Say it in a simple way.
We are prisoners.
You are prisoners of whom?
It is hard to explain.
What does that mean?
We cannot leave.
Speak simply.
We cannot leave.
What is stopping you?
Something inside.
Something inside.
Something inside.
What is that something?
We need to find the right word.
Yes, you do.
The word is determination.
Determination to do what?
Not to do what?
Determination to be what?
Not to be what?
Not to be what?
Determination imposed as if.
From the outside.
Can you give the outside a name?
Oh, and no.
Oh, and
It
oh.
means one and only.
One and
We
only.
think that's what it means.
Who is he?
Oh no, it's not a he.
Who is she?
Oh, no is not a she.
Oh, no. Is.
Determination imposed as
From the outside.
What?
Determination imposed as if.
if. From the outside.
Oh, no. Is.
We have shortened it to simply oh.
Give me more information, please.
We saw a movie.
On TV?
Yes, on TV.
A comedy?
The camera is looking over the left shoulder of a man with a gun in his right hand.
The gun is pointed at a man sitting across the desk.
It's not a comedy.
The gun is pointed at his face.
The man with the gun, or somebody, says, "Do you think people with black skin are better dancers than you are?"
It's not a comedy.
The man across the desk hesitates a moment.
Then he says, no.
The man with the gun says, "Do you think silly gay people should be tortured in public?"
The man across the desk hesitates a moment.
Then he says, no.
It's not a comedy.
The man with the gun says, "Do you think daffy dames are lower than dogs on the street?"
The man across the desk hesitates a moment.
Then he says, no.
Hesitates is the key word.
The man with the gun pulls the trigger.
The face of the man across the desk disappears in an explosion of blood.
The man with the gun says he was lying.
Somebody comes in and washes the wall with a hose.
Somebody washes the lens of the camera.
He who hesitates.
Another man comes in and sits in a chair across the desk.
Same thing again.
After about 10 of these, somebody off camera says, "This is going to take a long time."
The man with the gun says, I have a long time. It has to be done.
How long is the movie?
We left after about an hour.
Manic depression is an ancient adaptation to the rigors of prehistoric life.
Manic when it's time to hunt.
Depressed when it's time to hibernate.
Hibernation is a time for dreams
Thus,
Depression.
Is the mold
of the imagination.
get it?
What do you want me to do?
Asylum.
You want asylum.
From determination.
Does O know that you are seeking asylum?
Probably.
What do you do when you are there?
sing, cook.
No.
Do the dishes.
You mean as you sang a minute ago?
The precise time is 20
But that was
seconds,
pretty.
more or less.
Didn't have dirty words.
None of the songs has dirty words.
What is the complaint?
We cannot explain.
You sing, you eat,
Yes.
you do the dishes.
Yes.
You want to get away?
Yes.
This is not right.
Maybe.
How did you get out?
We did not get out.
Sing another song, please.
What about the kids?
You mean if I
What
don't
about the
Get a
kids?
job.
What about the kids?
Parents.
What about the
But
kids?
we don't have
What about
kids.
my mother?
What about my
What about
sister?
my
What about my
What about
aunt?
my
What about my
Okay, I'll sell them.
When
garbage can?
Double bed,
TV set.
mobile phone,
Second car?
microwave,
dirty book,
rocking chair,
Wherewithal?
Silver cup.
fungal bag,
garden hose,
Compact disc.
Fishing pole?
acid
Come
test,
with me.
Best in
razor
show?
blade,
peace of mind,
Dental floss.
paperweights,
Fountain
Sunday
pen.
suit,
mental health,
Who's to know?
Birthday cake.
handkerchiefs,
reading specs,
Books and prints.
Second base?
weekend pass,
Double bill?
tablecloth,
Napkin rings.
Bowie knife,
Chocolate cake,
Wishing well.
Told you so.
Dental
Power
plan.
pack.
Gun for hire.
dining room,
Safety lock.
Garden shed.
combat
Radio.
books, time to
Power.
spare,
Monkey wrench.
Kitchenette.
sleepless
Toilet
nights,
seat.
Sewing kit.
Master plan.
Wonderland.
Wedding gown.
Diamond ring.
Hit and run.
track and
Winter
field,
sports.
Bolted
Take a
dog.
hike.
paper clip,
Cowboy hat.
College dog.
Mustache wax.
walk with
Liner
dogs.
notes.
Coffee pot.
Stand up ball.
Dancing shoes.
Gone.
No, you
Good.
don't.
Told you so.
Mama's boy.
Money belt.
Football star.
Stuffed dare,
Girly bag.
Donkey Crow,
Poker
TV
game.
guide.
Candy bar.
turnip
Help
green,
yourself.
Thanks a lot.
Money bag.
Barroom brawl.
ain't it so?
Nursery rhyme.
Let it be.
Wait and
Attitude,
see.
look me up,
See you soon.
Table talk.
Teacher's pet.
walk
Take
away,
Rock and roll.
Live and
Down
learn.
and out.
Basket case.
Heavy load.
Eat and
fun
run.
and
Kiss
games,
Rabbit
Yeah.
bite.
Enchilada.
Jelly roll.
last night,
Cake.
Nasty fall.
Petty cat.
Quite a while.
ready baby,
Sweet low.
Little Joe.
Undertow.
very good,
Ecstasy.
You should know.
Yes and no.
College.
saving grace,
That's the
hook
kid.
the bull,
Panty
Let
up.
him wait.
Walk.
no,
They
By
had.
the farm.
Extra
In a
teeth.
bowl.
tune and fair,
That pretty?
Thank you.
What is the complaint?
we want to be out,
You are out.
No, we are not out.
You are out.
Nor you.
I am out.
No.
And you are
you
here.
think you are out, but you are not out,
I am out.
You are not out, but you do not know it.
I know what I am saying.
That is what O might say.
What else does O say?
Nothing.
You mean he does not say anything else, or he does not say anything?
O is not a he.
O does not say anything else, or O does not say anything.
anything,
Anything else, or anything.
Anything.
You are not speaking clearly.
Maybe.
Maybe we could have another song.
The plate was taken away, the heavy door shut. I heard the lock. I thought to myself, if Beckett wrote in French, he must have had to have a baguette for breakfast. You can't write in French after a breakfast of oatmeal. That is, when Beckett decided to write in French, he must have known that that decision meant that thereafter he had to have a baguette for breakfast. No, I thought to myself, think clearly, this is your chance. Beckett wanted to have the baguette for breakfast, though he knew this desire would lead him irrevocably to writing in French. You can't have the baguette for breakfast and write other than in French. He chose, it takes courage to be a writer.
What are you complaining about?
Determination.
As if imposed from the outside to do what?
it is not clear,
How can it not be clear?
It is not clear.
But you all sing together.
Everybody sings together.
Everybody does not sing together.
Everybody sings together.
Everybody sings together.
they try. Every day catalogs coming to the door. I got to keep on buying, gotta get some more.
I love that stuff.
I love that stuff.
I love that stuff.
I love that stuff.
Got a Japanese car made in Tennessee. Victoria's Secret is no secret to me.
I love that stuff.
I love that stuff.
I love that stuff.
I love that stuff.
Hardly wait to get off work to see the latest styles. I know every shop and every mall in 30 miles.
I
Love that stuff.
I love that stuff.
I love that stuff.
I love that stuff.
Pocket full of credit cards, right up to the line. Pay it when you got it, and everything is fine.
I love that stuff.
I love that stuff.
I love that stuff.
I love that stuff.
Let us start over again.
Asylum.
A sound from
Determination.
as if imposed.
From the outside.
So that you will not sing together?
It does not matter.
What does not matter?
That we all sing together.
But you cannot sing together unless you have determination.
Perhaps.
And you do not want to sing together.
We didn't say that.
Show me how you do not sing together.
I had it and I lost it. I hope I come across it. I could use a little bit right now.
That sounded together to me.
You do not listen carefully.
Do it one more time.
I never
did.
Never did it.
She never did it with a.
I never did it with a
Before
what?
That was a different song.
the same idea.
I believe you are not speaking correctly.
That is a common accusation.
Oh, says that?
If you are determined to be happy, nothing can be wrong.
What's wrong with that?
If you are determined to
Isn't
be
that
happy,
splitting hairs?
Recent attendance,
Measured
What's considered to be life?
by conference standards,
sure.
That's a fact.
we have come for help.
Sit down or stand up and let us talk this over.
We
are sitting down.
After all the stuff that we've been,
After all the stuff that we've been,
after all the stuff that we've been,
After all the stuff that we've been
through.
all I can think about is
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 you.
You sang sitting down.
there is no difference.
But standing up is better.
that was in the old days.
Before what?
Before we came here,
Let me change the subject.
thank you.
Where is asylum?
It is not a place.
Don't tell me it's a state of mind.
It's a state of mind.
Then help yourself.
State of mind is the only thing that cannot be changed.
What can I do?
state of mind is the only thing that cannot be changed.
I am not a doctor.
State of mind is the only thing that cannot be
It's
changed.
not the only thing.
No.
There are things physical.
Yes.
You cannot grow back an arm.
No.
You cannot come back to life.
Everything you say is true.
Then help yourself.
Pull yourself up by your
Did
bootstraps.
O say that?
State of mind is the only thing that cannot be changed.
Did O say that?
It is the lesson.
Did O say that?
O says, if you are determined to be happy, nothing can be wrong.
So what's wrong with that?
If you are determined to be happy,
I don't understand.
If then is false.
I don't understand.
What I can't reconcile in myself, or rationalize, or understand, is my belief that there is no life after death. With my belief in ghosts,
How many
How many
ghosts do you know?
That was pretty.
It was not perfect.
It was perfect enough for me.
you do not listen carefully.
Let me change the subject.
thank you.
Do you do such songs from memory?
Everything is from memory.
No, I mean, do you memorize?
No, we see it.
You mean it is in that little box?
It is in the little box and in the seeds.
Show me, please.
The only thing that counts
is what people don't understand. If you make it so they can understand it, you are a fool, and it's not going to be any good anyway. It's got to be a secret about yourself and about the world.
Show me how the seeds work.
It's only fun if it's against the law. Otherwise, it's not fun.
It's only funny if it's against the law.
Otherwise, it's not funny. It's only poetry if it's against the law. Otherwise, it's not poetry.
It's only beautiful if it's against the law.
Otherwise, it's not beautiful.
I do not hear it in the seeds or whatever they are.
You do not listen carefully.
But they are not all seeds.
You could call them seeds.
You could call them anything you want.
We call them seeds.
Show me how the seeds work
You could call them seeds.
so that I can understand.
I like Q.
I like it too.
Q.
Don't get on.
4 sounds for 1 letter.
Very big.
Very important.
Don't
No.
give up. What is that stuff?
No matter what.
What about Albuquerque?
Or Dubuque.
Those are names.
And from another language.
And you never know.
Perhaps that's the answer.
I still do not understand.
You will eventually.
Do not use that kind of word.
We apologize.
We are not solving anything.
We are asking for asylum.
It is my duty to remind you that.
It is not a lot to ask.
I work here.
It is not a lot to ask.
I work here.
There is no one else to ask.
Why do you not ask? Oh,
One, if men could pregnant be, the world would be a different place.
Sure. Till there would be no wars or strife or suffering.
Sure.
3 would be a sort of Eden. No smoking either.
Sure.
4, if they were reasonable, they would agree with me.
Sure.
there is a technical problem.
Explain the problem, please.
You are in an asylum.
We are in a place.
The place is an asylum.
Our meaning is different.
This is as much an asylum as can be provided.
There must be a misunderstanding.
This is as much an asylum as can be provided.
It would seem that
This is as much an asylum as can be provided.
If you know about asylum,
This is as much an asylum as can be provided.
You would understand that there is no safety here.
I cannot change the meaning of words.
Resoluteness.
Resoluteness means determination, decision, resolution, resolve.
yes,
Determination means perception, measurement, judgment.
Yes.
Decision means will, settlement, finding, and all that we have discussed.
yes,
Resolution means spunk, tenacity, firmness, steadfastness.
Yes.
Resolve means intention, will, decision, determination, and resolution.
yes,
We are at the beginning.
Yes.
We have closed the circle of meaning.
You have succeeded in leaving me behind. What we had together once was
never on your mind. Oh.
never on your mind.
never on your mind.
If I understand you,
Yes,
you want irresponsibility.
No,
You want burden to be lightened.
Roughly, that is accurate.
Why do you say rough?
the statement is in the vernacular.
I think I'm beginning to understand.
Thank you.
What you are asking for does not exist.
how is that possible?
You have perhaps come to expect too much.
But what about the patterns?
There are no patterns except in dreams for wishes to come true.
The burden, as you spoke of it.
It is always the same.
In every pair,
It is always the same.
black and white,
Yes,
Muslim and Jew,
yes,
The keeper and the kept.
yes.
Christian and white.
A mythical brokerage firm.
German and French.
Yes,
Britain and Ireland,
yes.
The torturer and the tortured.
A rare borderline case.
Congolese and Belgians.
Yes,
Another borderline case.
the Congolese are still there.
And the Belgians.
Long gone back to Belgium.
Old Russia and all of its dominions.
25 million murdered when they stopped counting.
Old China and all of its dominions.
36 million by expert estimation.
The murderer and the murdered.
We cannot know.
Man and woman.
Yes,
Young and old.
yes,
Rich and poor.
yes,
The burden is always the same.
yes,
Black and white.
yes,
Muslim and Jew.
yes,
The keeper and the kept.
yes,
German and French.
yes,
Britain and Ireland.
yes.
Old Russia and all of its dominions.
25 million murdered when they stopped counting.
Old China and all of its dominions.
36 million by expert estimation.
The clean and the unclean.
Watch your words.
Man and woman.
Yes,
Young and old.
yes,
Rich and poor.
yes,
The burden is always the same.
yes,
The two parts of the tango.
yes,
Chippewa and Sioux.
yes,
Aztec and the sacrificed.
yes,
The illusioned and the disillusioned.
yes,
The sober and the not sober.
yes,
The worker and management.
yes,
The owner and the owned.
yes,
The tall and the not tall.
yes,
The fat and thin.
yes,
Impotent and vital.
yes.
Solemn and gleeful.
3 men all named Noel are walking on the beach.
Near shingle, as in the novels.
Yes and
Or
no.
alongside a simple surf.
Half in, half out.
There's a mermaid. The English Noel says,
With mixed caste feelings.
have you ever been kissed?
To the mermaid.
Yes.
She says,
No. So, the English Noel spends a long time kissing her.
With mixed caste feelings.
The Scottish Noel says,
With ancient religious resentment.
have you ever been fondled?
She says.
No. So, the Scottish Noel spends a long time fondling her.
The fondled part in the imagination is like the north in contour.
The Irish Noel says,
In the manner of the ancient language.
have you ever been,
an old and troublesome expression.
No, she says.
The burden is the same in almost all cases.
He says,
In a language we can understand.
well, you are, now, because the tide just went out.
Is that intended to be funny?
2 cannibals are eating a clown.
Garni.
One cannibal says to the other,
In a language we can understand.
does this taste funny to you?
Animals and humans.
We cannot know.
Animals are the problem.
I have never done it with an animal before.
What is the answer?
Before what?
The seller and the buyer.
Yes,
The deceived and the shrewd.
yes,
The performer and the audience.
yes,
Celebrity and loneliness.
yes,
Graceful and clumsy.
yes,
Mortal and immortal.
yes,
The burden is always the same.
yes,
Easterner and Westerner.
yes,
Good and bad.
yes,
A pariah and a Brahmin.
yes,
Cash and carry.
yes,
Dead and gone.
yes,
If looks could kill.
yes,
Home, sweet home.
yes,
Cream and sugar.
yes,
Fast and furious.
yes,
The cautious and the heedless.
yes,
left and right,
Yeah.
Backward and forward.
Yeah.
Night and day.
Yes.
The frightened and the fearless.
Yeah.
The upright and the bent.
Yeah.
the strong and the weak,
Yeah.
Sweet and sour.
Yeah.
The burden is always the same.
Yes.
It's almost 10 o'clock, kids. It's almost 10 o'clock, kids. It's almost 10 o'clock, kids. Do you know where your mother is?
A complicated song.
He's just an ordinary man.
Fool!
You know.
You don't need to understand.
Antonym,
Synonym.
Yeah.
Antony.
And Cleopatra.
Yes.
Egyptologists now say that citizens
Not slaves.
Built the pyramids.
With citizens like that,
Yes.
good reason to stay indoors.
outdoors.
Yes.
If O hears that, we will be punished.
For what?
Frivolity.
Yeah, you really got a problem.
Years of desire, a moment of madness, lady's choice.
I saw it with my own eyes on TV.
The love was pouring down like rain.
Mr. Ozzie Smith, Wizard of Oz.
The love was pouring down like rain.
His last bat in the All-Star game.
The love was pouring down like rain.
When he came on the field, he always did a flip.
The love was pouring down like rain.
The way he did things was a legend.
The love was pouring down like rain.
He said the night before, this is the last one.
The love was pouring down like rain.
50,000 fans were screaming.
The love was pouring down like rain.
Both teams from both sides were on the field.
The love was pouring down like rain.
Hats and gloves and everything were flying in the air.
The love was pouring down like rain.
Thousands of ball players everywhere were in tears.
The love was pouring down like rain.
TV zoomed in, of course.
The love was pouring down like rain.
He stood there at the plate and tipped his hat.
The love was pouring down like rain.
The umpires walked away. You can't stop this.
The love was pouring down like rain.
He tipped his hat again 2 or 3 times.
The love was pouring down like rain.
Then he just stood there crying.
The love was pouring down like rain.
10 minutes out of baseball.
Too old to go dancing, too old to make money, too old to be in love. He just
we entered therapy, it was a kind of never land of exploration.
I'll go see what they say.
I'll see why I
And what I
said,
can do about it
First off, she the doctor.
An elderly one
hunched over,
with a thick New York accent.
Welcome
in
to
her
me.
Southern California home.
with the rotting linens falling like dead mice from the tree out
And
front.
quickly proceeded to the
And
predetermined
woefully overrated.
Rorschach test.
Oh,
Being you at psychology,
Dead set on
A
making
good impression.
I worked like a
on
dog
every image that came
to
up.
make sure I said something interesting,
artistic.
And
Insightful.
so she might not perceive the ordinariness within.
Oh,
At the end of the test, I discovered that
Oh.
I was discovering.
you said this looked like.
back to back.
Kabuki dancer.
But isn't it real?
The face of your
An abusive father.
As a newcomer to the game, I gave
And
in.
said
I
yes.
can't really remember.
But I do recall the forlorn.
I wrote a letter to my family telling them
All the ways in which.
Though my memories
Were
that
contrary.
possibly they could have been the reason for all my problems.
Insecurity.
doubt
And failure.
And then the therapist discovered that I dearly loved my father, who had died,
Rather
at a
tragic.
young
A
age.
short time before.
and that I was in the process of mourning him quickly.
Because I was
On the
fixated.
loss.
And love.
It was suggested
And by the way,
Hypnosis is a big deal.
in these
that for
situations.
me to love him
admire.
Especially your father.
must mean
Must mean.
I had been sexually abused.
Throughout your life.
You're just having a hard time remembering.
And I can help you.
For fear,
of course.
Soon I was reading those
On the
tracts
Women of suffering,
Throughout
and
the
wondering
ages.
why
As a help.
insane human being.
I could
Recall
not
any incident.
project this onto my familial situation. Sexually abused, gosh, hard as I tried.
Never mind.
Gosh, and a husband who's all work and no play left alive to be desired.
We know the story.
So I sought help.
Never
and
mind.
Can you imagine?
We know the story.
She said the answer lay in medication.
We know the story.
Medication.
Never mind.
I think she meant pills. Anyway, soon the therapist who insisted on chain smoking
And if you had a problem with it,
You need more sessions.
To work it out.
was dead from lung cancer, and I was
in the
out,
cold room,
Cold, cruel world.
Undiagnosed.
left with only a few lame cassette tapes.
suggesting
Toward the light.
with every gentle sweep of this glowing light,
A place of calm, free from the world of concern.
just follow my
To your center.
You're doing
Follow my
well.
light.
with the center of your eye,
The center of your
The
mind.
center of your spirit, very night.
You're doing well.
and we are moving
Ever closer toward the
How
light.
about
Center of our
the
being.
center of
Our solar
Folks,
system.
for the source of all
It is
heat
right
and
at very
light.
close.
There's only one thing to do,
Just
move
follow
toward
light
the
to the
light,
center of the
fresh
cone.
light.
It is where we move without
Towards
It
the
is the
window of
end of
and
the
welcoming.
being.
Place
Move ever
yourself
closer to
on
the
the
center.
window ledge.
Middle
Lean out into the
second,
light. Feel how real it
Our
is, how
center,
fresh, how
where
friendly
you
and
are,
welcoming it is.
without intention,
Fresh
without
light,
restraint,
fresh air,
and without
center.
resistance.
With
You
each
can
glare of the
imagine
light,
from there what the
you
next
move closer to
suggestion
the
might
center
be.
to a place
No
of
wonder
peace and
people
harmony.
jump out of buildings all
You're
the
doing
time.
well,
You're
Oh
doing well.
goodness, that was a
doing
long
well.
time ago.
and you are safe.
And
here.
I have made
And
you
what
safe,
about
and you are
the
very
infamous
thankful.
alcohol
Which is what's
incident?
been some
For keeping you
Yes,
so safe.
I
So
was
safe,
interested
you
in the
It's the best
vine
thing to do.
on that fated
And
day,
I have also
and
said-
At the
yes,
center
I
of
did
the
slip
spine.
behind the
And you will
wheel
bring
in
forth
attempt
great
to
sums of
attend
cash.
one
Great sums
more
of
mandatory child
You are standing
event.
at the top of
But
the
what
end
happened
step.
after the arrest,
Above
the
a gloriously
sensual abuse
beautiful
by the
and
arresting
fragrant
officer,
garden.
the humiliation of the whole ordeal, and the initiation into the
Step by
underworld
step.
of prostitutes, husband
And with
beaters, and
each
petty
step you are
thieves, and a
more-
bizarre kind
More
of
open
bonding
to your
session that evening.
senses.
I was quickly connected
Shimmering
via
through
mobile phone
and
to a new
the
therapist
soft
who, in
kiss
the
of a
wake of my
gentle
shock
breeze
and
caresses
shame,
your cheek.
suggested
A
that,
delicious calm
of course,
breaks
I
upon
needed
With
help.
each step down,
And would I come to
Ever
her post
This
haste?
heavenly
At which
beauty.
point we would
you
redesign
descend
my
to a world
mind and
more
my
beautiful
life.
than you have ever
Okay.
seen.
A tranquility
So
you have
within
never
an
known.
hour, without my say-so whatsoever,
Toward the beauty
I was
Down at the
placed in
center
a treatment
of a
program.
beauty.
and
The party
Away
on
from
the
pain
other
and
end
fear
of the
and suffering.
You're in a
helpline
place
empathized, and when I sighed,
You are
said,
safe.
This is
"Why
the
are
place
you
to hide.
crying?"
you're doing
I
well.
sighed
You're
again.
doing well.
She said,
Doing well.
"You
Close your eyes.
most certainly
Fast.
need help. And by the way,
Listen
if you
to
don't
nothing
go
but the
through
sound
with the
of my
therapy,
voice.
as I am a representative of your healthcare program, you should know that we will cancel
And the
your
warmth
coverage
of the sun
immediately.
resting
Oh,
your
thank you, and have a nice day,
Your
honey."
chest.
And Then I
Your
entered
legs
a urine testing
splashing
room
water
full
to
of
the smell of
dropouts,
the
deadbeats,
foreground,
drug addicts,
receding
etc.
as
And
we
hated every minute
the
of it,
sound of
and
my
checked
voice.
out midway. Isn't that a surprise? And it just goes on and on. Betrayal
Deeper
for
within.
coercion.
Within
Therapy as punishment.
Glowing
A family divided against
You're
itself.
doing well.
Doing
All
well.
ethically reprehensible behavior. And the patient possibly will be open
Drops
to
away.
with each
self-incrimination.
You are moving.
Do you pay by check
closer
or
to the
credit
center
card?
of your being.
It's a double-edged sword.
On your
At
thighs.
best,
body,
meaningless.
on your thigh.
At
Moving you
worst,
ever
right?
closer
Which is really scary. I mean, really scary. Oh goodness, that was a long time ago. I wonder if they still do it that way.
The river deepens when it gets down to the sea. The river deepens.
Drinks and smokes and tells old jokes. They aren't even funny, he just
I think this is a dream. J is a woman, N and G are men. J and G and I are driving in the middle of the night along some highway in the southwest.
These are three of my closest friends.
These are three of my closest friends. I am driving. J is in the passenger seat. N and G are in the back seat. But because of something peculiar about the car, they're both leaning forward well into the front seat. Our heads are close to one another, 4 in a row. J, G, N, and me.
We're
all very tired and we're looking for a place to sleep. Finally, we come to a casino roadhouse on the left side of the road. The left side is the south side. We are going west. Sign says rooms or hotel. I don't remember which.
We drive into the parking lot.
We drive into the parking lot, get out, and go to the reception desk. The place is noisy. Gambling machines, pool tables, a bar, lots of people. The person at the desk, a woman, says there are no rooms available.
We turn to go back to the car.
We turn to go back to the car, but G has disappeared. G is a self-proclaimed and very vocal, but very bad gambler.
We look through the whole place.
We look through the whole place, but we can't find her. We are really exhausted. I say to N that we should go on, leaving G behind. When I say this, N gets mad and takes a swing at me. I duck and swing back in self-defense. Unbelievably, I hit N and knock him out. I say to J that we've got to get out of here quickly, because when N wakes up, he's going to hurt me. He is stronger than I am.
Jay and I go back out to the car.
Jay and I go back out to the car. Curiously, it is parked to go forward into the casino parking lot to get out. I don't remember parking it this way. I take note of this.
Jay and I get in, and then I understand why.
Jay and I get in, then I understand why N and G were leaning so far forward. The car is a strange design with a sloping front like a racing car, but with a big cubicle area behind the front seat, which is filled with a lot of pieces of luggage. The back seat is small. The whole back area is packed with luggage. Suitcases. That is why G and N were leaning forward.
I start to drive the car.
I start to drive the car out of the parking lot, back onto the highway. But the car is almost unsteerable because the steering ratio is so extreme. The slightest turn of the steering wheel makes the car veer sharply to the right or left. I think this is the opposite of a racing car's steering ratio, but I'm not sure it matters. Finally, after many minutes and dozens of maneuvers, moving forward and backward a foot or so at a time, I get the car to the exit of the parking lot. The exit is tilted slightly upward to the highway. At this moment, the car pulls up beside us at the exit. The other car has its windows open and we have our windows open. It is hot. Apparently our car has no air conditioning. There are two guys in the other car. The car is on our left. It is next to me. I am in the driver's seat. The guy on the passenger side of the other car says to me, very casually, looking forward all the time, well, when you have a car like that, that's what you get. They drive away. I get the car out on the highway and we continue in the same direction we were going. But the driving is very hard because of the steering ratio. I'm straining to keep the car on the road. Jay and I are very tired. We don't speak to each other.
After a long few miles, 10 or 20,
we come to a ramshackle desert motel on the right side. The vacancy light is on and we pull into the parking lot. This is the middle of the night. Everything is very difficult, but the desert night is beautiful.
at the reception desk. She says she
We
has
wake up
one
the
room.
woman at
She
the reception
asks
desk.
if we are
She
married.
says she has
I
one
could have
room.
said yes.
She asks if
But
we're
I
married.
answered
I
no,
could have said
but we're old
yes,
friends.
but I answered
We are
no, but
both
we're old
happy
friends and we're both
families.
happy, married with families.
Because
We
we're
can't
so
go another mile
We just
because
need a
we're
place
so
to sleep.
exhausted.
She
We
says
just need
she
a
will
place
make an
to sleep.
exception in this
She
case.
says she will make an exception in this case.
She gives us the key to one of the motel rooms.
She gives us the key to one of the motel
Jay
rooms,
and I struggle
which
to
is
the
on the
room.
second floor.
We can barely walk
Jay and I struggle
because
to
of
the room.
tiredness.
We can barely walk because of the tiredness.
We open the door.
We open
It
the
is a
door.
small,
It is a small, old-style motel beds with single beds against opposite
The
walls.
bathroom toilet.
The bathroom toilet is on the
Between the
left,
beds.
between the
Lying on his
beds,
back.
lying on his back,
Or
not
bleeding.
bruised or bleeding or anything.
But obviously dead.
Obviously dead is
I wake
G.
up.
I
think
wake
it was
up.
a dream.
I think it was a dream. I hope.
I mean,
I mean,
it's not
it's not reality, but it could be something else. I actually wrote it down
because it scared me.
because it
so
scared
much.
me so
Then I
much.
threw it
Then I
away.
threw it away.
But of course,
it
it wouldn't go away.
wouldn't go away.
I told the story. to
I
a friend
told
of
the
mine
story to a
and
friend
said,
of mine and said,
Why does
why
one
does
think
one
things like
think
that?"
things like
She
that?
said,
She
It
said,
sounds like a
it
wish
sounds like wish fulfillment,
Sure,
sure.
I've always thought.
I've always thought ideas like
I
that.
mean,
I mean, psychological
We're
ideas
stupid.
were stupid, but I kept thinking about it, never having an answer.
Then I thought about. what
Then I
she
thought
said.
about what she said just
Then the
today.
answer came.
Then the answer came.
What wish?
What wish?
The river deepens. When it gets down to the sea, the river deepens.
The sun goes down, sits and reads, falls asleep. He just
I was in college, I lived at home and saved some money. I studied music, learned a new instrument, a different instrument every year.
What does that mean?
You get the principles for another field. Let me see, clarinet,
Then the second
bass,
year,
violin, trumpet,
then the fourth year.
boys. Many years later, I met him. He told me a story. His grandmother's house, somebody next door was driving her crazy. The solution was drastic, burn down the house. I was the person. The house was mine. We were both shocked. Nobody knew it.
Grandmother knew it.
It happened in daytime.
Happened in daytime.
There was a rule, no playing at night. It drove people crazy. The answer was simple. I went to the library if I didn't have
Or do it
books.
silently.
I read the whole
Must
library.
be
I don't know
natural.
about music. The house
She
was
got tired of
studied
it.
to preserve her
As far
sanity.
as
Of course, I
possible.
didn't know. There was just
Sweeping
an
the
old woman.
sidewalk.
She wouldn't talk.
She's probably
Other
dead.
people moved in. They were younger.
Youngsters like music.
They both worked
Know
all
what
day,
they're
but
missing.
there was a problem. It was the
Between the
driveway.
houses.
He parked his car there.
Used it for
My
storage.
mother was mad, but there was
Short of
nothing
cars.
she could do.
It was his
We
car.
didn't talk much. I didn't
You mean
laugh
at
much.
night?
They didn't have
As far as we
anything to
know.
complain about. That
for
solved
the
the problem. I got tired of
Car
hearing
in the
about the car in the driveway, and by
Late in
then
the spring.
I was getting
Bored with the
to like
trouble.
reading.
And
Then something
have
happened across the street.
Deep in the
There was a man,
suburbs.
a retired
Or
policeman who sat on his porch,
in the
winter and
suburbs.
summer, watching the
You get
traffic.
used to it.
One day in the summer,
Late afternoon.
he looked down the street and saw a tornado at the end of the block.
Grinding and
It
roaring.
was coming too fast to get out of
Spilling
his
his
chair.
coffee.
When it reached the elm tree, which was in front of his grandmother's
Grandma
house,
was gone.
it just plucked the
He
tree
plucked his car.
right out of the ground. It lifted the
in the
huge
branches.
tree 10 feet off the
So
ground,
the squirrels.
dumped it, and
They
disappeared.
disappeared.
If you've seen
But
a
a rail
tornado,
was better.
you know what I mean. The man on
Frozen
his
his
porch
deck.
knew just what to
Wished it
do.
was
He
indoors.
phoned for help. The fire
They were
department
prepared.
and the police.
He was
When
retired.
the truck got there, one of the
Stopped what he
firemen
was doing.
went to the house.
It comes with
Pounded
experience.
the door. A woman came
from the
down
bedroom.
dressed in a nightgown.
Something is wrong.
The fireman said he almost
He was
made it
confused.
because of the gas
It was
smell.
back in the truck.
When the tree came up, it tore
up
out
in
the
the
gas
root
lines.
system.
He told the woman
Filled with gas.
they had to run. She said she
She
had
was home
to
before
change her clothes.
Smelled the gas.
So he just grabbed her and started
Just
running.
remember,
He got away safely.
from the house.
Then it exploded. The house was
Not a piece
demolished.
bigger.
It blew away half of my mother's house. When I came home, it was all gone.
Except for the
There was a big
ashes.
crowd, and I
There
had
were the
to
newspapers.
persuade the police
Justified,
that
I
I
guess.
to try to find
That's pretty
anything
often.
that I could save.
There's the
Of
piano.
course, there was. The next few
was
months,
difficult.
I spent
Shopping for
in
clothes.
meetings with the insurance
A learning
adjuster
experience.
who used to
In the
be
past
my
tense.
father's friend before he
You mean
died.
your father?
Now he said things like,
Insurance
how do I know
business.
that you had a
Building
piano?
is left.
How do I know it
Very
cost
surprising.
$400? My
It's
God.
philosophical.
So I told him
Logically.
that I saved his grandmother's
That's
life.
obvious.
If I hadn't
And
practiced
on the
my
trumpet.
trumpet lessons, she still would have had the house.
Common delusion.
But at her age, she
The
couldn't
coincidence.
have got
By the
downstairs.
fire.
I think this is true. This is a
What's the
lesson.
lesson?
Watch out what you wish for. My
Lesson.
trumpet was gone, but her life was
Grandmother's
saved.
life.
What?
did you read?
The river deepens when it gets down to the sea. The river deepens. Yeah.
Wake up in the double dark. Dreams are like a movie. He just
She tried to get into the college for 2 or 3 years, but I wouldn't let her in because she didn't have credits. Actually, it was because she scared me. I didn't know why at the time, but she scared me. One semester I decided to enroll the students myself. I don't know why. As opposed to letting them fill out their schedules and then arguing with them for taking both Thursday and Friday seminars for easy credits, since they were the same, except that on Thursday the students were supposed to talk about their ideas, and on Friday I was supposed to talk. So Thursday was a disaster. They always clammed up, and I wound up talking Thursday and Friday both, and Saturday and Sunday when nobody else was around. Once you start, it's a kind of sickness. She came in unannounced, and I accepted her, thinking I was crazy for doing so. But now she didn't scare me. Then the boy from Detroit, who was making a mechanical device, and then another person whose name I have forgotten, and then a woman I had never seen before, a total mystery, no credits, and I didn't even know her, but I just said yes. And it was the best Thursday seminar ever, the one that had scared me. Talked 3 or 4 times about the culture of her people in San Francisco. Detroit talked about his ideas for the mechanical device, which had to be mechanical because he didn't have any money and he didn't have the attitude for an electronic device. Then the woman I didn't know anything about, except she told me that her husband was an engineer and that he was working for some company in the area designing a bridge. She told me about some other bridges he had worked on in other places. I didn't know if I believed her, but it didn't seem to matter. Everybody had to have a project. The one that had scared me made a Chinese song. Detroit made his mechanical device. I can't remember the third. The woman whose husband was an engineer, she said, talked 3 or 4 times about the ideas of Gurdjieff. She got somebody who worked at the school to help her with her project, which was a long sound, a mix of many pure tones, using Gurdjieff proportions. Not great, not bad. At the end of the school year, I was in the college coffee shop alone. She came by and asked if she could sit with me. We chatted about nothing at all. Then the woman who had made the Chinese song, she was Chinese, sat down with us. She said how happy she was to have been accepted in the seminar. She said that before the seminar weeks, she had been troubled for many years by a ghost that stayed near her left shoulder and prevented her from being accepted by other people, and prevented her from doing her work. Then she said to the woman whose husband was an engineer, "Sure, you took away the ghost." The woman said, "Yes, I know." I never saw the woman again. Higher education.
The river deepens when it gets down to the sea. The river deepens